The Parisian gastroenterologist of fame and the passionate Egyptologist Dr. Maurice Bucaille enjoyed the merit of combining his scholarly knowledge of the biblical and Quranic texts with his ancient Egypt background to embark on a new journey that crowned his quest for harmonies of the Holy Writs with modern science. He wrote, "I had journeyed to Egypt during the second half of 1974 in search of various archaeological and medical data concerning certain pharaohs. In particular, I was after documents pertaining to the Exodus. My intention was to examine certain passages in the Bible and the Quran under the light of recent information provided by Egyptian archaeology. During my first visit to the royal mummy's room, I wondered whether or not my plans for this research would lead to conclusive findings, and whether I would be able to effectively justify the confidence the Egyptian authorities had placed in my project. My access to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, where my studies were to be carried out, was due to President Sadat, who had given direct orders that I was to be allowed to perform any type of research, providing, of course, no damage was done to the mummies. In my own country, I was not officially entitled to carry out such research, nor was any endorsement given to me by the French government or a university. My presence at the museum, where I was very kindly granted every possible facility for research, was uniquely the result of personally contacting certain people. My initial contact was Mrs. Sadat, whom I knew through my medical practice. Her family had granted me its confidence after the successful treatment of a family member. I took the opportunity of informing Mrs. Sadat of my conclusions regarding the likelihood that a particular pharaoh may have taken part in the Exodus. At that time, however, my theories were supported merely by data drawn from my study of history, archaeology, and hieroglyphic texts. She gracefully agreed in no time to present a request on my behalf to President Sadat. With extreme gratitude, I later paid a visit to the President himself. At the time, there was not a single harbinger that might have helped me foresee the developments that were to follow. At first, I was, of course, fascinated by the outward appearance of both pharaohs when I entered the mummy's room of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo in 1974. In that year, 3,212 years had elapsed since the death of Ramses II. The only parts of the body of Ramses II that were visible to visitors in 1974 were the head and the left hand, the rest being draped with coarse linen not unlike burlap. The mummy was laying supine in an open coffin, visible through the glass sides of a rectangular display case with a removable glass cover. How the mighty had fallen! The sight of the hand, a symbol of power and force, led me to imagine Ramses II as a young sovereign and warrior during the first 20 years of his rule. The purpose of my own project was to examine the possibilities of making new discoveries and to extend the research to branches of medicine that had not yet been included. The research was to focus on the remains of two pharaohs. Mernptah, research in the field of forensic medicine, was to prove of great value in determining the cause of his death, and Ramses II, thought by many biblical scholars to have been the pharaoh of the Exodus. It seemed to me that the experts' arguments were weak in terms of factual evidence, and that precise